Hello and welcome back to vlog number 2 of Understanding Your Economic Engine. If you've missed vlog 1, Avoiding Your Financial Train Wreck, I suggest you go back and watch that. So we're actually going to build on that particular vlog here in this one, which is about focusing improvements. Again, my name is Rick Phelps. I am a business coach with Action Coach Business Coaching, and we're talking now about your economic engine, understanding money mastery, how it is your business makes money. And this is an area that's near and dear to me, as I have worked with hundreds of companies. Every one of them got at least some aspect of this wrong. So if you're a small business or a large business and you find this hits home, you're not alone. You're in a great group of companies that I've interacted with that have had issues with understanding their economic engine. So at the end of this little presentation, you'll have my contact information. If you'd like to talk about any of the things I've raised in this vlog or others, please feel free to reach out. Our first session is always complimentary. So let's talk about focusing our improvement efforts. But first, let's talk about our mindset and our brains. It's an important part of our brain that you should know about. It was introduced in vlog 1. It's your reticular activating system. And it's your filter on what you see and experience based on what you think. And in this series, we're talking about our cost accounting mindset, or the thinking that's put in place, and therefore the filters that are put in place because we use standard cost accounting tools and such as profit and loss statements to make decisions for which that tool was never intended. So enjoy. I hope you enjoyed vlog 1. Here we go with vlog 2. All right, in vlog 1, we explained a little bit about how cost accounting works, how our dollars are divided up into 2 pieces, into gross profits and cost of goods sold. In cost of goods sold, we have materials and labor. Our gross profits are allocated into variable costs, fixed costs, and net profit. We talk about profit margins of all the products we produce. And every product carries with it a little bit of profit, and they get accumulated. And at the end of the month, we have money, profits, except when we don't. And we talked a little bit more about how, well, that all is just a bunch of bullshit. Variance analysis and trying to figure out why it is that your costs didn't get allocated and all your expenses didn't get paid. It's just needless complexity. There is a much simpler, much more powerful, and much more correct way of doing your analysis. And that's using throughput accounting, because cost accounting simply puts the blinders on you like we put on mules when we want them to stick on a particular path. So get off the path of poor profits and remove the blinders, use throughput accounting, where we have all of the allocated costs put into a single bucket. That includes your direct labor, which you probably have built into your cost of goods sold. Undo that. Keep your life simple. Understand that your process has a pinch point, and that pinch point, it's like the weakest link in a chain. It limits your ability to make throughput dollars or to make money in your business. This is the most important part of your business. Understanding where this is absolutely critical, because it limits profitability and has all kinds of side-on benefits that the next few blogs are going to look at in this respect. But for now, we're just going to keep to the topic of our first one, and that's really focusing on our improvement events. So to understand your economic engine, we really need to focus on this pinch point, understand that constraint, and focus your efforts. And the power of this insight is profound. All right. In vlog 1, we talked about the coal mine up in Montana that did not see the pinch point as trains. It in fact was trains, and it had a big impact on how they looked at their world. They saw the additional train, or each additional train, worth $10,000 in profit because they were all allocated costs in the system, when in reality, the 101st train was worth $1 million. But as the old commercial used to be, but wait, there's more, right? 100 trains breaks even. The work they were doing because of a cost kind of mindset was really trivial. Six Sigma projects to make sure a few extra pounds of coal get in the train. It's nice work. It's not where the money's at, right? 5S to minimize labor issues and clean up shops. Nice work. Doesn't really impact the bottom line. Just noise, right? So their mindset or the reality of their world was the 101st train put $1 million on the bottom line, not $10,000. Better yet, the 102nd train made their net profit double. So one more train beyond 101 to 102 gets 2 million, 100% improvement in the bottom line. Now, we talked about the fact that they make 100 trains nominally, plus or minus, somewhere between 98 and 102 a month. That's 3 or 4 a day. If they could consistently hit 4 a day, that would be 4 times 30 trains. That would be, let's see, 120 trains. That's 20 trains above break even. That means, oh, they could be focusing their improvement efforts and making $20 million a month. That's actually a 20% net profit. They'd have money gushing all over the place. That's not what they were doing. They were working on cleaning up workplaces and making sure train cars were loaded nicely, rather than looking at what really mattered, really looking at the constraint and saying, okay, what keeps the 4th train from being loaded each time it doesn't happen? It might be equipment breakdowns. So you focus your reliability efforts on making sure that those kind of breakdowns that lose a train never happen, because every lost train is worth not $10,000, but $1 million. And that mindset, all the difference in the world. The blinders off, all of a sudden, this mine can go from marginally profitable, barely making a percent or two return on investment, making a 20% return on investment. That's huge. That's huge. What opportunities are you missing in your business? Now, I know you guys aren't running coal mines, so let's take a look at a different business. This is a fabricating shop, and this was back in little even before the coal mine, back in 2003. And this was a little fabricating shop in Virginia, had about 30 employees, was family owned, and I got invited in because I was part of a theory of constraints team that was helping DuPont unclog up the demand for Corian countertops. Now, Corian countertops, you got to have been around a little while to remember Corian. Corian was the countertop to have prior to natural stone and granite and marble, which is, totally dominant. I don't even know if you can buy Corian anymore. But back in the early 2000s, late 90s, that was the product to have. And so DuPont worked through the South Carolina MEP, or Manufacturing Extension Project, and had consultants like myself go out and help the fabricating shops bust open their constraints and enable them to fabricate more countertops so that they could sell more Corian. All right. So I got invited to this shop. Roger was the owner of the business. Great guy. Very steeped in cost accounting mindset. His cost accountant had really beat that into him well. Now, at the time, I lived down in Tennessee, so I drove up to Virginia and got there about lunchtime, which was rather fortuitous because we went out into the plant. It wasn't running, and we got to their CNC machine, and their CNC machine was not running. And I immediately knew that this was their pinch point in their process. And how did I know that? Because the inventory was stacked up behind it. There were 4 stacks of Corian as tall as I am. And I'm a little over 6 feet. So that's 70 inches. And Corian is about a ½ inch thick. So that's 140 sheets times 4. Each of those stacks of Corian was worth about $100,000. This is in a business that wasn't making any money, right? And the really interesting thing was, we get out there and I'm looking at these stacks of inventory, and I'm looking at this idle machine. And this, by the way, was my very first sales call. And so I look at Roger and I say, Roger, man, the first thing you should do is hire a helper to run this machine during lunch and breaks. And Roger just stared at me, and he had that look on your face, on his face that is like, what is wrong with you? And finally, what comes out of his mouth is, which part of I'm not making any money did you not understand, right? And boy, talk about getting off on the wrong foot. I got off on the wrong foot. It was kind of downhill from there, but here we are. This machine could process 2 sheets of corian an hour, so one every 30 minutes. And a sheet of corian costs about $700, and the finished product sold for about $2,200. So this thing was generating throughput dollars at a rate of 3,000 throughput dollars per hour. Right? How much does an operating assistant cost you? Back then, 10 bucks an hour, maybe. So we're losing $3,000 during lunch hour because we won't spend $10 or even $80 to have the guy there all shift long, right? So rather than thinking about how to improve this business from a throughput standpoint, from getting the product to flow through the plant, the mindset, the blinders that he had on him was, I can't spend money, I've got to save money. Well, no business ever saved themselves to prosperity. They may save themselves from going bankrupt, but you never save yourself from prosperity. You get wealthy, you get rich, you get profitable by making more for more, not by saving money. And that's the beauty of this understanding that there's one pinch point in this business. All right. And so once Roger was able to see the light and put an operator support on here, even go beyond just running lunch and breaks, but to extend the day so that he could run an extra hour or 2 or 3 in the evening, all of a sudden that inventory pile started flowing through the shop, and profits started flowing to the bottom line. So really important that you understand where your pinch point is, whether it's the railroad, whether it's loading railroad cars or operating one of your machines through lunch and break. It's really critical. And then beyond that, all the other steps in the process around that pinch point are always thought about in terms of the relationship to that. So if there's something that can be done in a prior process to process C, in this case, the pinch point, that will make things flow better, even if it costs you a little bit more money at process, excuse me, A or B, it's worth doing. Similarly, the downstream processes, D, E, and F, anything that they do that damages or diminishes the product that's already through process C, those are the places you want to be working on. Those are the improvements you want to be making. So if you've launched or have done in the past Lean or Six Sigma, and you've gone out and just said, wow, doing good things is good, right? And we're going to make improvements everywhere and anywhere. And that's going to result in, doing good always just makes you do better. That's BS. You know that. If you've done a lot of Lean Six Sigma projects and you've done them everywhere, cleaned up places that didn't matter, you didn't see the impact on the bottom line. And that's because the only place in your factory, if this looks anything like your factory, the only improvements that are going to show up in the bottom line are the improvements of throughput dollars through process C. And that's the beauty of understanding your economic engine as it pertains to that pinch point, or as we say in the theory of constraints, the constraint. All right. Eli Goldratt, here he is. Dr. Goldratt died in 2011, big loss for the world. He said in his book, The Goal, which if you haven't read or haven't read recently, you need to do it again. An hour lost at the constraint is an hour lost in the entire system. An hour lost of loading a train at the coal mine in Montana was an hour lost in the entire system. An hour lost anywhere else, just a mirage. Doesn't matter. So focus your improvement efforts, make a difference in your business, understand the constraint, understand throughput accounting, and understand that at the heart of every constraint, at every business, the thing that's limiting the business's ability to make money, the constraint overall is always the same. It's always your brain. It's what you think about. It's the blinders that you have on. As Mark Twain said, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that ain't so. So get out there, figure out what your constraint is, and make a profound difference in the profitability of your business. And if you'd like some help and bounce some ideas off, here's my contact information, Rick Phelps at actioncoach.com. There's my website and my phone number. You can call me directly, 216-533-1387. The operators are not standing by, but if I'm not in the middle of something else, I will answer that phone and answer your questions. So let's get out there and have a safe and profitable day. I'm Rick Phelps. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me, understanding your economic engine. Have a great day.